Hey everyone, good evening, guys. Good evening to all. Hi Rishi. Hi Apurva. Guys, we are live and I hope you all can see me and hear me very clearly. Can you give me a thumbs up in the chat, please? Then we'll move forward with the attendance and other things. Hi Kathi. Hi Shikar. Good evening. I hope I'm audible to you all. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Can you guys be responsive in the chat? Can I get all the thumbs up from all the people who I guess there are around 130 people. Can we be active in the chat, please, guys? Hi Deepika. Hi Farhan. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the thumbs up. So, my name is Anam Khan. I'm one of the team member at LetsUpgrade, and we are starting with building weather app using JavaScript and like API. So, we'll build a like responsive weather app. So I hope you all are excited and will be there with us for the next 2 days. Like as this workshop is for the 2 days, and it will be a 2 hours workshop. The timing will be from 6 to 8. So please make sure that you join for day 2 as well, and you also can add the like certificate of this completion or certificate of this boot camp of this workshop to your resume, or you can push your code to your GitHub. So yeah, and you can mention that you have completed this and this, you have built this and this project. Okay, we are ready. Good to see that. So I guys, I won't waste the time more much. I will share my screen and explain you the attendance part first, as I will be on the screen only just to explain the attendance part and how you'll be getting your certificate. And then we will hand over the session to the trainer, that is Geeta ma'am. She will be your trainer for this workshop. Okay. Yes, Rishi, at 7 p.m. there is a orientation session for the SCP students. Okay, so guys, I hope you all can see my screen. And please, guys, call your friends, call your cousins or college friends, whoever is interested, and they also, as they can boost their portfolios, they can also learn this hands-on project and build at the real time, like build along with learning. So please call your friends. And yeah, so guys, for this workshop, to get the certificate, we have an attendance process. So you need to mark your attendance daily, that is on day 1 and day 2. So the link is there in the description box, and also I will paste it in the chat. So when you click the link, you will be redirected to this page, one link page, where you need to first of all enroll for the program. If you haven't, if you're a new user and coming for the first time at LetsUpgrade portal website, then you need to enroll for the program. And when you scroll down, you can see day 1 title. Below that there is a mark attendance toggle. Click on it. A rating scale will appear from 1 to 10. You need to rate the session according to your feedback, your experience, your ratings, or whatever you want to give. And for now, I will give 10 on 10. And here is a feedback option. If you have any feedback for us, be it positive, negative, or whatever, you can just put it here. We will surely work on it. And then mark your attendance. Okay, you can also mark your attendance post the session, so it will be easy. Like you can put the ratings and feedbacks, honest feedback here. And yeah, when you come up again here, you can see program progress bar. It is now 50%, and it will increase to 100% on day 2. So after the completion, like when the day 2 session will get end, you can see the download certification option right below this progress bar. And to before generating the certificate, you will be getting a test. You need to attend that test. You need to pass it, then only you will be able to generate the certificate. Otherwise you won't be getting it. And please make sure that you learn and pass the test. Okay. And guys, we have these communities, that is WhatsApp and Discord. If you have any queries, facing any issues, or you want also we post their regular updates, daily invites about the upcoming sessions, upcoming programs, and about whatever things we have, like we align, we post all the things there. So you can just join us there to get it to be in the loop with us. Okay, so I hope you all will be joining the communities. And if you have any queries related to the attendance or certificate part, please put it in the chat. the team, the moderator will handle, like, answer your queries, and related to the workshop, related to the program, the trainer will answer it. Okay, so do not worry, no one will be get ignored. Okay, I think there is no query related to the attendance. If there is any, you can just rewind the video and watch the procedure of attendance again. Okay, guys, one more thing, we have this all-in-one documentation. The link is there in the, again, in the description, and when you click on it, a document will open where we have given the if you're new to javascript, as you know, need to know the basics of javascript for this workshop. So if you're new, you can, for now, please attend the workshop. After that, you can just check out a playlist, and you can go through it, you can learn the basics at least, and then come back again on day 2. Okay, and here is a doc link, here is the attendance enrollment link, these are the session links, and here is the notes. Like, it is a curriculum outline for this workshop. It is not like step to step sequence wise, but it is just a outline which you can refer. And if ma'am shares any of the document, any ppt, any files, we will surely upload all the things here. So do not spam in the chat for the resources, for the material. Please come to this all-in-one doc, and you can find all the things here. Make sure that you save this doc link, so it did not need to save, like, find all the things. Okay, this document cannot be downloaded in a pdf form, so you need to save the link only. I hope I'm clear. Hello, dk coding. So guys, again, coming to the description box, we have one SAP, like, that is Student Ambassador Program, which is a 1 month program, and it is free. You don't have to pay any charges, any fee, there is nothing. It is a free program, and it is for 1 month. The next batch will be starting from 1st of August, so you can apply for it if you are interested. You can see the apply now button here, and these are the milestones that you need to achieve. Of course, there are certain targets, and upon those completion of the targets, you will be getting this exciting prizes, coupons, t-shirts, swags, and many more things are there. We we conduct a different exclusive workshops and hackathons, designathon, many more things are there where we can win coupons up to 5,000, 10,000, and also participation certificate, runner up, like whatever is what many more things are there. When you will enroll, you will get to know it. So I'm hoping that you guys will apply for it. Okay, and if you want to see, if you want to check the previous winners, you can just check out our social media handles. Okay, so for now, that was it from my side. Now I will hand over the session to Geeta ma'am. uh, so here she is. Hi ma'am, good evening.
Hi Anam, good evening. Am I visible?
Yes ma'am, you are visible. We
Okay.
can start with the session, ma'am. If there is
Yes, yes.
anything, just call me up. Okay, so bye
Okay.
guys, thank you for your time. Thank you guys, thank you ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi guys, a very happy evening. And I was just listening to the description and maybe some Amazon coupons for the trainers would also do. Uh, just kidding. So yeah, a very happy evening, and it's Monday, so a very happy Monday. And let me know from which batch you guys are, because it's going to be a JavaScript bootcamp. So I should know if you're very aware of JavaScript already, or I should keep it a little slower. And also let me know if there is any glitch in my voice or video, and then we can start soon. Please give me a thumbs up. Please be very responsive in the chats. I'm reading your chats all together. Hi. 2017, 2022, great. So it's always fun to build a hands-on project rather than starting something from scratch. So that's gonna mm, make you learn a lot, because I'll be doing with you, so we will face some problems also. So I think that's the good part. The lecture in Hindi only. I'm sorry, Harsh. I would love to do that, but there are a lot of people जो हिंदी नहीं बोलते हैं and समझते हैं. So we have to keep them also na in the loop. Whatever you don't understand, just maybe drop a comment in the comment section. I will explain that part in Hindi. Basics of JavaScript, great. 2025. English is comfortable. Yeah, I know English is comfortable to many people. Okay, are we good to go? Shall we start with the project? I will give you a brief overview of the project, and I will then give you a brief about JavaScript. What are we going to use? What functions are we going to use? And ultimately, we're going to build something really good this time. No, I don't know Malayalam. I'm sorry. Okay, good to go. Please give me a thumbs up. Quick, quick, quick. First year student, how to utilize this season. Your being the first year student and attending this session is itself in itself is a great milestone. You will learn as you go. The HTML CSS session was good, thanks Rahul. Okay, I think we're good to go. I'll be interacting with you over the comments, but let's get started first so that we have something on the screen. I'll share my screen quickly. Let me know if it's visible. I think the screen is visible now. Screen is visible, right? Okay, good. Let's get started. So I'm not telling you how to install VS Code and stuff. You already know it. So open your VS Code. Maybe open a new folder. Just do it along with me so that you don't lag behind. So in desktop, we are probably going to create a new folder, which is weather app. Okay. And then you have to open this folder. This is a folder. Opened. Please quickly open your folders in your VS Code. Even if you know basic things in JavaScript, this is going to be basic, but this is more of a session in which you learn how to integrate all the three aspects of website development, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We are not going to go in advanced JavaScript. We are just trying to integrate all of them together, and so that you can, inculcate in it in a single website. That's it. Okay, all of you done this much? So I think there are two things that we can do. First of all, let's make a basic HTML file, index.html, and that's it. Okay, just make a basic index.html file, exclamation mark, and then enter. This is the basic HTML structure that we're gonna need. But I think I'll zoom in a bit. But I think before we start jump onto HTML, let me give you a brief overview of what three aspects of web development are we gonna use. First one is going to be HTML, obviously, which is, I hope you already know, hypertext markup language. Second one is going to be CSS, which is cascading style sheets. And JS, obviously JavaScript. Okay, if you are okay, if you are a beginner, these are the three things that we're going to use in this app, and the application that we are ultimately going to build is weather application, in which we are going to use a third-party API key, which will show us the weather of different states, and the whatever the state you enter, you're going to get the weather condition of that specific state. Okay, uh, first was this. Second, let me break down the structure of the website to you. So first of all, we're going to use HTML, which is the basic structure in each and every website that you see over the internet. It is the foundation of every website. What is it? It is just giving elements and structure to your website. For example, headers, paragraph, anchor tags. You use image tags. We use table tags for creating table structures. We use form tags for creating form structures. And here we're going to create a form, not a form, but we're going to use an element of form, which is called input section, so that the user can input the state name or whatever. Ma'am, I don't know anything about JS. No problem. It's very easy. It's gonna be a beginners friendly session. When advanced JS, we've already had a session of advanced JS previously. You can refer to that. But this is going to be very beginners friendly session. Okay. Second thing that I'll explain API, whoever is asking. Second thing that we're going to use is CSS, which is cascading style sheets. So now HTML's work is to only put a specific element in a website. For example, it can put up a very simple header on the website. Should I show you? I hope you all have reached to this part. Please give me a quick thumbs up. Are you all working with me? No, I'll not go for inline CSS. We will use external CSS so that you can see three different files in your structure: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you know how do we integrate it all together. Okay, you're working with me. Great, great. Good to hear that. 2 minutes. Okay, I'll wait 2 minutes. Okay, so this is the basic structure. Um, till Arathi comes back, what we can do is we can write a simple heading which is I am heading 1, simple heading. And I hope if you have VS Code, you already have 2 3 very important extensions downloaded in your systems, which is live server, autosave, and prettier maybe for a good code formatting. What else do you need at this moment? I think that's fine, that would work. Live server is more important. So right click, open with live server, and it will probably open here. Yes, this is our basic heading in our application. Now, this is what I meant when I said that HTML only gives you, just a second, guys. Okay, this is what I meant when I said HTML only gives you a basic structure to the website. Now, what it does not do is it doesn't give any sort of styling to your elements. Like hud se hud, it will give you bold, italic, or underline features, which is I don't think that's any sort of styling for that matter. So HTML is only to provide a structure. For example, if you have attended the HTML CSS bootcamp, you're already fed up of this example, but I'll keep giving this example. It is like a simple wall, a simple plain wall, that is HTML. If you give it a color, if you paint it in any color, say yellow or blue or red, that's going to be the CSS or styling, which makes the websites appealing. Because how do you think millions and trillions of websites that are existing on the internet right now look so different from each other if HTML is the only thing that's keeping them? It is the CSS, it is the different uses of CSS, permutations and combination, different people having different mindsets, different perspectives, different designs. And that is how using CSS can make such a difference, that it is creating millions and trillions of different looking websites. So let's use CSS now. This was a basic HTML header. Okay, yes, it is a skeleton and CSS is clothes. One good example that I saw. So I'll probably use this in the next bootcamp. This is heading 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create another file. Let's say style.css. Now there are 3 types of CSS. First, inline, which is if you directly use it. Okay, shall I use it here? I'll explain 3 of them and then we'll use external only. Okay, using style attribute, inline CSS. So I'll give it probably a color. I'll give it color blue. Just a second. Let me know if you guys get disturbed by the voice coming from outside. If you get disturbed, please drop comments, okay? So, this is the h1 tag. In this, there is this style attribute, which I'm giving color blue. So, if I go to my website, it will give blue color to my header. This is inline CSS. What is this? Inline CSS. This is the latest version of VS Code, to anybody who is asking. Okay, great. Not very much. Thanks. Because I am getting disturbed. H1 tag. In that we are using style blue. This is inline CSS. Now let's use internal CSS only, but not inline. How do we use it? Not inside style attribute, but inside style tag. Use a style tag in the header. Then probably you can directly target it using the tag name. For now we are targeting using the tag name. We are giving it background color. Good question incoming. Please ready to answer. Okay. So yeah, now you will see the color. Oh, did I give a background color? I want to give color. Now please tell me, why did it take blue color and not the blue violet color? If you have attended the HTML CSS bootcamp, this question is for you specifically. I'm taking a live feedback of the session. Why my CSS did not take the blue color, but violet color, but blue? First, not reference, Nisha, it's preference. Stack order, great, great. So you guys have attended the bootcamp, I presume, or you already know it. Great. Priority, yes. So this is one of the very most asked interview questions. Priority of CSS. The most priority given to CSS is inline CSS, and one of the tricks that I shared to remember this is the CSS that is most nearer to the tag will have the most priority. Which type of CSS is nearest to the heading tag? It is our inline CSS. So until I remove this, it's not going to take the internal CSS. So for now, I'll remove this. So the H1 will now have violet color. Great. Two types of CSS already done. Which one? Inline done. It has the most priority. And then we have internal, second priority, and then external, which we are going to use for these 2 days. Okay. So this also done. I'll comment this for now. Let's create another file. Oh, we've already created style.css. Please guys, create it in your systems. Yes, somebody's asking inline. Yes, inline has more priority. Otherwise, there would be no use of inline CSS. Ultimately, that is so useless. It has the most priority. That is why it is useful, because whenever you have to change something last minute or in some specific time, you want to make sure that the CSS is correct. So inline CSS Hi guys, am I visible now? Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. So my mom turned off my Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. So yeah, where were we? Sorry for keeping. Thank you for keeping patience. Okay, great. Um, okay, nothing is missed. Where were we? We were on external CSS. Okay, great. Let's get started. I hope my screen is visible. Is my screen visible? Actually, I've shared my screen. Let me ask the team to share it. Yes, guys, just a minute. I've shared the screen. Let them stream it on YouTube. Then we can start. Just a second. Hi, Anand, please. Okay, okay, it's shared. Okay, the screen is visible now. Audible, visible clearly. We were on style.css. We've already done inline CSS. We've already done internal CSS, which is inside style tag. Now we're going to use external CSS. In this, you do not have to use another style tag or attribute or anything related to style. The reason is we are already telling our system that it is a CSS file .css. The extension does the work already. So we do not have to specify any tag or attribute. We can directly use CSS. So here we're going to target the h1 tag, and I'm going to say color green. And if I go to my web page, okay, one thing missing. That is a question for you actually. What is missing? Why has it not considered my CSS yet? Not linked. Great. So people are actually catching it up. We have not linked this file. How does my HTML know that I have to take the features or attributes from that file? So here we will use style tag in our HTML file. Oh, I'm sorry, not style. Link tag in our HTML file, and in the href we will say dot slash. I have to pick up this file style.css. Now it will pick my CSS from this file that I have specified, and the color of the heading is green. I hope CSS is clear. Basic HTML is clear. Now let's go to basic JavaScript, which is the most important aspect of this bootcamp. Okay, let me know if you face any issues with the audio and video. Okay, let's get started with JavaScript. Okay, so in the curriculum, it's mentioned we have to do basic, already done. Then we have, okay, in JavaScript, are you aware of variables? Let, var, and const. So JavaScript, okay, why is it used? I've not explained that. HTML gives basic structure, CSS gives basic styling. What does JavaScript do? It gives a dynamic functionality to your website. Now, just like I gave you example of the fan last time, fan is plain fan, a white colored fan. Using HTML, you have put it up there in the wall. Then using CSS, you're giving it some styling, but that fan is of no use unless and until it has some functionality, like on click of the button it rotates, right? So when something happens, it, you have to have that dynamicality in your fan, right? So that is when JavaScript comes in the picture. Okay, so these functions and DOM manipulation, very important. So JavaScript can also manipulate different HTML elements. You can change the color and style of a specific button or a tag of HTML using JavaScript directly. That is called DOM manipulation. We will do it, but let me first explain you basic data types in JavaScript. So for now, we are not going to use it here. Let's go to our own page, press F12 or maybe right click and inspect, remove this. This is our inspect box or dev tools, what we call it. Open it in your systems quickly and please give me a thumbs up if you are doing this with me. Am I lagging behind in chats? No, it's good. Okay. Have you opened this with me? Go to console, and this is for quick JavaScript practices or quick debugging formatting for us developers. Okay, so in console we're going to use JavaScript. So let's do basic JavaScript. I will define let a is equal to 3. Okay, and in the next line I will say console dot log a. So the value of a is 3. A basic data structure, a basic way to give values in JavaScript. Variables also used and const is also used. Const is for giving constant values. You cannot rewrite the value. So const b is equal to 5. I'll say console dot log b 5, and simply one more thing you can do, you can perform a simple addition operation using console. Let's say a plus b, it will print 8. Basic definition of variables, just in case you don't know. Okay, you want me to zoom? I'll stretch the screen a bit. I don't want to maximize it. Okay, and I'll zoom in a bit. I hope it's visible. And let's, from this button you can clear your consoles also. And let's see what are data types in JavaScript that we're going to use. Data types in JavaScript, you can, as the name suggests, you can definitely picture what data type is. Data type is nothing but the type of the data that you're storing in JavaScript. What type of data do we store? It's either a string. What is a string? It is a collection of different characters, HELLO. It can be alphanumeric also, like HE123. Okay, so every time you add a password in any of your social medias or any platform, it is always stored in string mostly. Okay, then we have number. Number is nothing. How is a string so stored? Like this. Say const name equals, my name is Sigita. Oh, I'm sorry. It is stored inside double inverted comma. Just a second. Do I need to zoom the screen more? Fine. I've zoomed in a lot. Is the screen visible now? I will reduce करना है तुमको. Now, okay, visible. Okay, thank you. So I've given a name Geeta and then shift plus enter for new line, and then I'll say console dot log name, and I prefer using console.warn. If you ever, like, you definitely will, but when you become a developer you always debug a lot of things. So when you do console.log, it gets mixed up in all the content that's going to be shown on the console. So always use console.warn because it comes in that yellow warning sign, so you can easily spot the um, maybe whatever you want to print. That's just my tip. For example, it will be shown like this. Okay, this and the type and stuff. Then clear your console again. Then we have numbers are nothing but int and float, 24 or 24.23. Simple. Array is very important. Array is another type of data type. Basically you are storing homogeneous data type, like you're storing either strings or either numbers. That is an array. Const arr equals, inside the square boxes you can put any value that you want. For example, let's say a, and then b, and then you do console dot log array. This is a and b, and you can also access different elements. How do you access different elements? By doing by, you can either call index, like I want the 0th element of array, so that is a. This is called array. Like, I'm not going deep into JavaScript, but I'm giving you a very brief overview, but it is going to be really helpful in the long run. Document.write you can also use, but here we are working on console. That would be not shown here in console, right? If you want to use document.write, it would be visible in the screen, okay, not console. Let me know if you have any other doubts. Then we have another type of object that is very very widely used in JavaScript, which is object. Another type of data type, which is object. Now objects, must have heard of OOPS, object oriented programming. What does it do? It stores multiple values of a similar data type so that you can access it. For example, if I am in a school and I want to store all the names of the students, now there are two ways. I store them separately. Name 1 is equal to this, name 2 is equal to this, name 3 is equal to this. Now rather than storing it like this, what we can do is we can create an object wherein I can say names, and inside that I can store the multiple list of the names, and then I can fetch it using indexing. Very well and very good. Like, you can always give it a key and a value. For example, name this, roll number this, phone number this. So that is an object. Now you can access that object using its object name, and dot, using dot, and whatever entity you want to fetch. So object is most widely used. We can see how. I'll quickly show it. Let me know if the screen is visible to you. So let's say const ob- object is equal to, it's very simple to store because you have to directly use curly braces and provide the key and the value. For example, like so, like this. So you can say we want the name, you can say we want the name to be Gita, and oh sorry, I just pressed entered. Rule to be 25, and then if I do console dot log, you can practice it along with me. Object, that is my object. Now if I want object dot name, I can also fetch that. Say I want only the name from the object, object dot name, so the name would be Geeta. This is how you can get fetch different elements from an object. Is that clear? Please give me a quick thumbs up and be responsive. Quick. Then I think function. Okay, then we're going to do functions. For attendance, you can check the description box and you can go to that attendance link. Yes, doing it great. Only two people? Okay, there are more. Okay. No, that is not property and value, that is key and value. This is the key name and this is the value. Name is not the property. Okay, you're doing it. So we've done basic data types in JavaScript. We have done how to define elements, how to give values to elements. Now, very important thing that we're going to use is function. What is a function? Now, function is not only used in JavaScript. In every language that you're going to work on, functions are used. What are functions? If anybody asks you this definition, I can help you cram the most logical expression definition ever. Function is a block of code that can be reused inside your code anytime. What is it? Function is a block of code which, once defined, can be reused multiple times in your code. Let's take an example. Okay. So the example is a very small example I'm giving. Say you have an e-commerce website like Amazon. So every Diwali, you you know there is this sale which is 25% off on all orders. Now 25% off on all orders. Okay, just let that sink in. So what you're going to do is you're going to fetch the cart value of that person. Say it is 2,000 or 20,000. Now on that 20,000 you're going to subtract the 20% of that value. For this, if you're a backend developer, you are going to create a set of code, right? A line of code. So for that, you're going to create something. 25% off pay, we have to subtract this and give you the final value. Now you've written that code, which is a very small code, but okay, you've written this. Now every year you have this sale, 25% off. So next year when the sale comes, are you going to write that code? Or if the sale is over, are you going to remove that code from your code, entire code, and you have to write it again next year? Rather than doing this, why not write the code, keep it in a box which is a function. Okay, keep it in a box which is a function. You are giving that function a name like 25% off. So every time you have that sale going on in your website, you just call that function. It does its work, so you do not have to write that code again and again. I think that was one of the most logical examples that I could give. So, function is a set of code that can be reused in your code as many times as you want. Define it once and use it again. What do you think these big e-commerce websites or any big website for that matter are doing? They have a lot of functions that they use on daily basis already created. Okay, some common functions that we use in JavaScript are callback functions. Say, for example, I create a refresh function which refreshes my page after every 10 minutes. So it will call itself, which is called a callback function, which will call itself after every 5 minutes to refresh the page. Clear? Okay. Let me know if you have any doubts so far, so I can explain function. Okay, let me explain functions first, then we can take a doubts session for 5 minutes. So basic function that we're going to write is, how do we define a function in JavaScript? Using the keyword function. You're going to name your function something. Okay, let me first clear the console. Okay, function, we're going to name the function something. Let's say I gave this function in the last JavaScript bootcamp also. This function is going to be called greet function. Now inside this greet function, the parenthesis that you see, we can either put some default values in it, like if we do not give any value, you have this value, but for now we're keeping it empty. Inside that function, I am going to say it will console you a hello every time this function is called. Okay, or we will say, hi user, this function was called by you. Now what this function does is, you see I have defined a function. Like there is a function called greet, which means there is a box called greet. Whenever I open that box or I get that box, it should do some function. So function greet. Now there is this console.log. Like every time this function will be called, it will console something, which is, hi user, this function was called by you, but I have not called any function for now. So if I enter, there is nothing on the screen. It has not given me anything. Why? Because I have not called the function, I've just created it. For you to see the output, you have to call the function, that please function is called now it will say, hi user, this function was called by you. So we create functions and we call them in our code. First of all, what it does is it keeps our code very clean. You do not have to code in every line. You just define the functions in the upper part of the code and just call it in the main part. Second, reusability of the code, very very much important, because you are not going to create every function that performs same things every time. You have to create new, right? You don't have to do that. So functions are very most widely used. Clear so far? Today's live class timings are 6 to 8. So 1 hour, 10 minutes left almost. Clear so far? Any more doubts? So we can jump right into the maybe coding part. Going slowly. Okay, I'll go slowly. If you have any doubts, let me know. I'll re-explain that part. I can explain arrow functions, Harsh, but it's not in the curriculum. Basically, arrow functions are created in the same line. Like you have to use this and you can define the entire function that we defined above, and you have to store it in, say, greet word, say let greet, and define the function inside this, and then you can directly call it here only. You don't have to call it again and again. Define it in the same variable and call it then and there. That's it. Okay, function one more time. Okay, should I explain this code or write it again? I'll explain in this code only. Function keyword is used to define a function in JavaScript. So as soon as I write this word, my system knows, okay, this person is writing a set of code that will be called sometime. I will not call myself. It is not a callback function. It will be called. Then I'm giving this function a name. Definitely, if we create function in our code, what is doing what and what to call, right? So we have to give it a name, that this function is for greeting the user. So greet is the name that I had decided. Then in this parenthesis we usually put default parameters, like if the person is not giving any value, we will assign a value to this. But here we do not want any value to be shown, because values usually are put when you want to do some mathematical calculation usually, or you want to send some variables that are predefined. Here no variable is being used, right? Am I using any variable in this function? No. So definitely I'll not use any default parameter. So the parenthesis is empty for now. Inside, so when this function will be called, everything that is between the curly braces is going to function. So console.log was inside the function. So whenever I call this function, this is going to be, what is JavaScript? Let me read it. Okay, this is going to be called. So when I called greet function, it gave me this console log. Okay, now let me see, what are you guys saying? We are using JavaScript. Sanket, I hope it's clear. Shall we start? This is not advanced JavaScript. We have already done a session for advanced JavaScript in May. It was there. You can scroll through the Let's Upgrade channel. It is there. JavaScript advanced in May. Okay, and we will also carry on different bootcamps in near future. But today we're going to start building the weather application. Okay. Okay. Some people are asking, why is it printing undefined? Because whoever is asking, I'm sorry, I forgot to see your name. Because when I entered the function, I pressed enter. Did I call the function? No. So it knows, okay, somebody has defined a function, but it's not needed now. We have not called it. But when I called it specifically, like now, greet function, come. So greet function came, and whatever was inside it, it worked. So it printed this log. I hope it's clear. Arrow function is best when you are working on a largest website, because, but definitely we use them equally. Arrow functions are for instant uses, like wherever you do not want to call, like do not want to use that function a lot. But these functions are very very helpful when you want them to use globally and a lot. In this class, JavaScript, HTML and CSS concepts, more on the JavaScript side. Okay, and API. Okay, let's discuss API and what it is. What do you guys know about API? Please tell me. What do you guys know about API? Okay, huh. So that maybe I'll correct you, or if you're right, I'll appreciate you. I'll share the code and notes. Refresh function, set time. We also have functions for time, setting times in JavaScript. Harshvardhan, JavaScript is really really vast, but don't get scared by it. You learn it as you practice. API is like a bridge. Okay, API is application programming interface. The full form is clear. Great. Somebody said, Loveleen said, used to fetch data requests. Okay. Do you guys know CRUD operations? Anything about CRUD operations? ये waiter वाला example तो मेरा है. Somebody has seen the boot camp. फ्रंट एंड बैक एंड, रीड अपडेट डिलीट, ग्रेट। CRUD ऑपरेशंस पता है रिशु को? कर्ड नहीं, कर्ड तो दही होता है, CRUD, CRUD ऑपरेशंस, क्रिएट, रीड, अपडेट एंड डिलीट। Okay, getting data. So you all already know a lot about API. So we're going to use an API key and a third party API key. Now, what a third party API key does is, okay, let me explain this very clearly. We are building a weather app. So what it will do is, when you search a city or state's name, it will fetch you the weather of that state. Now, I want to ask you something. Do we have the database? क्या हमारे पास कोई डेटा है जिस पे ये पता है कि ओके दिल्ली में कल ये वेदर होने वाला है, या दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द वेदर फॉर दिल्ली, दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द वेदर फॉर फरीदाबाद और फॉर मुंबई? डू वी हैव एनीथिंग लाइक दैट, एनी डेटा? yes or no, quick? No. Yes. So if you do not have any data, how are you going to create an API and fetch data from that database? So there is no database. So you see there is this bridge, your front end, your back end, your database. आप लोगों को उल्टा दिखेगा शायद, फ्रंट एंड, बैक एंड एंड डेटाबेस. नाउ इन द फ्रंट एंड you have it, the back end you have it, you will create API. Okay, you will create a get API which will get the data, but from where will it get the data? You do not have database. So that is why in this bootcamp we are not going to talk about database, because that is humanly not possible, at least for now, to fetch that real time data, that what state is going to have what weather, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use a third party API which will exclude our database wala part. It will have its database, its own database. We will just integrate the API key in our application, and that API key will fetch the data as per our requests. Clear? No, I'm sorry, you did not enter into Hindi session. Great. So one thing, I think one part is clear, that we do not have database. So we're going to exclude that part. We're going to use a third party API key which will fetch data for us, okay, from its own database. Second thing, what are CRUD operations and what are APIs? So somebody's already mentioned it. API is like a bridge between your front end and back end. So what API does is application programming interface. It is an interface to your programming application. For example देते हैं एक, let me give you an example, I'm sorry. When you open Instagram or any social media platform, you enter your username and password, right? Then you click on the login button. As soon as you click on the login button, the first thing that happens is JavaScript comes into the picture. It has listened to an event which was clicking of the button. Now, as soon as it listens to that event, some function will be called, probably a function to get the details of the user. Now, first, what it will do is it will go to the database. It will match your username to the username that you have entered. It will match all the existing passwords to the password that you have entered. If now if and else loops come in, if and else conditional statements come in, if the password matches to what you entered, it is going to let you enter your account. Otherwise, it will show you an error that incorrect password, try again. Now, if the password is correct, it gets your data. What it does is, focus on the word gets. It gets your data. That is an API. It will, so there are calls, there are CRUD operations where we call different API functions like get data, delete data, or if you're updating your password, get API will not be called, update API will be called. If you're deleting your Instagram account, delete API will be called, right? So these are CRUD operations, and API is nothing but like a waiter which brings the dishes from the kitchen to your table, okay, from the back end to the front end, okay, from the database to the front end. Clear? Is the API thing clear to you? So we have to fetch, just a second. So I have to fetch from a database which is already implemented from, yes, the API is already implemented in that third party application. You just have to use that key and fetch. We will make a fetch call definitely, so you will see how APIs are working. You will not see how database is working, but you will see how backend is working. So it is more on the backend side. Little clear. Okay, so API is clear, I presume. Let's see if anything is left. Now let's do a little bit of DOM manipulation, and then we can, yeah, it's 7-2. So like 10-15 minutes DOM manipulation, then we can start creating a basic form for a JavaScript app. Tomorrow probably we will do the API call, which is not much complex, so it will be easy. Okay. Yes, we can do that. You go to your code now. Everybody go to your code. And this was our heading. So let's change the color of this heading using JavaScript. Let's do it. First of all, I'll give this an ID. I'll give this an ID header. The ID is header. Please give your headings some ID, everyone. Soham for API is not clear. Soham API is making calls so that it can fetch your data and perform different operations on the data that you are asking. For example, when you click on any button on the, what example should I give? Yes, you go to LetsUpgrade website, you fill a form. Okay, will I see a form in the website abhi if I try? Let's go to LetsUpgrade API. This is LetsUpgrade API. Here what happens is, okay, I'll give you the backend. So here in this, if I add a random phone number and I click on this continue button, what will happen now? OTP has been sent. This was a wrong number. So say for example, I enter some OTP which will say it's wrong. So if the OTP was correct, what would have happened? What would have happened is an API call would have been there, which was okay. Can you tell me which type of CRUD operation would have been called here? Create, read, update, or delete? Quick. Get, put, post, or delete? Which CRUD? Not update, not read, create. Somebody said it, create, because as soon as I sign in for a user is, okay, it was login. If it is login, or if I'm a user for the first time, they are going to use a create API, because now my data is going to be stored in their database. Whatever database they are using, my data is going to be stored in their database. Okay, so these are the operations that APIs perform. So what do they do is, as soon as a function is being performed on the website, any operation would be called. Maybe get, maybe put, maybe post. Put is updating that data. For example, I'm updating my password. So when I put previous password and then I put new password and I click update password, it will update, it will give an update API call. So API is, it bridges the gap between front end and back end. Okay, so API is like a waiter. You give it its task, that do it. This is done, do it. If this is done, do this. So that is API. Clear? Any more doubts? And also you can have some, if you want to know, you can get these raw APIs like from this section. So like whenever an API is called now, you can see it's too zoomed in for me. Sorry. Whenever an API is called, in console you see errors. In sources you see different sources, not necessary. In network, what API is called? If this API is called, you can see responses here. In network also you can see. Wait, I want to show you the welcome, preserve, console, sources. No, in the network also there is this option called response. I cannot see it. Yes, so 200 status, 204 status. This was the response from any API that was called. What was the response? The response was no data was found because the OTP was wrong. Error, true, there was some error. What was the error? Incorrect OTP, message, mobile number not found. This mobile number was never found to send an OTP to. So this is how you can see different responses from your API. There were two responses from my API. First was null, second was mobile data not found. So this is where DevTools come in handy when you want to debug something. So whenever you are working on a website, you can see what type of error you're getting. Okay, clear? And yes, you can also, like, login API was called. So in this you can use the copy button, and then you can use, probably you want to copy as curl bash. So in bash, if you copy this, you can get this sort of, just a second, you can get, how do I write? So you can get this type of API response. I know it's hard to read, but this is used in Postman. If you've ever used Postman for API calls, this type of data is used. Like, what are you sending to the data, to the API? This is raw. I was just telling you how to fetch it. That's it. Okay. I think we can now start creating. So API is clear. Any more doubts in API? Any more doubts? I think basic API calls are clear. Then we will go to our HTML. I have given this ID to my heading tag, h1 tag. Now let's create a JavaScript file. You can also link it in the below, like in the bottom of your code. You can link it. For now, let's not use external JavaScript. We will use here only. So we will say document dot get element by ID. What is the ID name that we're going to use? We're going to use the ID name header dot style dot color is equal to, now we're going to change the color of our heading to yellow, and if you go, your heading color has been changed to yellow. What we did here was, this is called DOM manipulation, document object model. Now this to manipulation. Now what this does is, this fetches a specific element from your HTML. What element did we fetch? We fetch get element by ID header. Now it looked for the entire code, found the ID header, and then it said dot style dot color, the color of, like, I want to change the style, I want to change the color to yellow. So it changed the color of my heading to yellow. You can also do this by calling class names, but a question is incoming for you all. Be prepared. Dot get element by ID class name. I will give the same class name, or maybe I'll give the class name head. Okay, I'll give the class name head dot color, sorry, dot style dot color is equal to green, and I think green I've already given, so I'll give it red, and I will give this a class header, but this will not take my color. Yes, it has taken green color, which I gave in the CSS. If you see, it has taken green color. Why has it not taken red color? Inner HTML will change the content of the tag. I will I will show you that also. Please tell me why did not take the red color. This is the most common mistake that you do, that we do more often, and also this is very much difficult to remember. So yes, no, we're giving the right class name. Oh, sorry. Even if you give the right class name, it will not change the color. See, so I've given the right class name now. What type of specificity? Sure. I think somebody is catching it. No. A class name can also be used to specify. It is a selector. Can you guys spot the problem? 10 more seconds and then I'll explain. No. Class here by using during DOM manipulation. This is how you call document dot get element by class name, get element by ID, or anything. But what is wrong here? Priority? No. Okay, so no, not priority thing. I'll explain. So there is a very small difference if you notice. In ID, only one element has that ID, right? So no other element is going to have that ID. So you do not have to specify what element exactly. But in CSS, if you give class name, it targets all the class name, which is fine. But in JavaScript, one of the biggest mistakes that we do is we do not often classify what element specifically while using classes and while doing DOM manipulation. Here I said that okay, get my element by class name header, but I did not specify exactly which child, like which child when I used that class. So I know this is very hectic. It should have targeted all the class names by default, just like in CSS, but in JavaScript it doesn't do so. So I have to here specify that zeroth element where I have used this class name, because I can use it in multiple. Now it will fetch the color. Okay, so what is needed, please always remember this. You know what happened to me earlier was I always used to write so many code, and then there's this problem and you cannot spot it. This is not a sort of error, this is something missing. So it will never show you an error, it will never say that okay, indexing is missing. Then I always used to get confused that why is it not picking up the feature, why is it not picking up the color. This was the reason. So I have learned it in the hard way. I want you to always remember that whenever calling using class names, you have to identify the indexing, which is kind of hectic, because in 1,000 lines of code, how are you going to identify in which time I have used this class? So for that, a quick trick is Control F, search for that class name. Class is equal to head, and whatever in the first position would come, that would be your first. If I have used that in second number, so I would use this down arrow. Second index would be first position. Clear? Yes, 0 means the index of the class. So is this clear now? Clear. Okay. So this is DOM manipulation. If somebody was asking, change the inner HTML, so we can change that also. So instead of using this document dot get element by class name again and again and again, what we can do is we can store this in something called a variable const head is equal to. Now I will remove this part, only this part in my variable definition, and here I'll say head dot style dot color should be red. Will this work now? Yes, this will work. So in the head variable, now there is this element called our header. It has already been fetched. Now I'll always call this head whenever I want to function on this. So now I can directly call head dot document. No, I don't want document dot get element, already done. So head dot inner HTML equals. So you can change the inner HTML, or you can change, say I want to add inside this inner HTML, I want to add I am the updated heading. I hope we do not have to use backticks here. So I'm the updated heading. So if you go, it has the updated heading. We do not have to use backticks. So here what we are actually focusing on right now is using JavaScript and manipulating HTML elements. I called this element using JavaScript. I updated its data using .inner HTML function. I changed its inner HTML content. Clear so far? Please give me a quick thumbs up so that you guys are not asleep by now. Thumbs up quick. Great. I think yes, basic definition, everything that we will use is already done. API सब हो गया. fetch function I've already explained, to fetch the data. So when tomorrow we'll use it, you will have a good hold on the definition as well. Yes, I think it's clear. We can start building the application directly. Yes, so are you guys okay? You're awake. Okay, great. So we can now finally start building the application. Buckle up and be ready. Also, I think we have used we will use external JSON here only. So if you see in this file, I have used internal JavaScript, but we are going to use external JavaScript. So create a file called script.js. These are the most common names that we use: index, style, script. Inside script.js, we will write our JavaScript code and how to link it. So in CSS, we used to link it using the link Here, we will directly put the name in the script tag inside the src attribute. Okay, src attribute dot slash, we are linking it to the script.js file. Clear? Should I remove these comments and start on the blank canvas, or should I keep it? Please let me know. To anybody, if inner HTML is not clear, I'll repeat it again. Inner HTML changed the content of this heading. Previously it was I am heading 1, but after using inner HTML it became I am the updated heading. So it is changing the HTML content using JavaScript. Remove kar do. Should we start on a blank canvas? Okay, so this clear. These I'll keep, the basic headers. This will clear, and this also will clear. So this is our script tag, which has our link to JavaScript. We will remove it a bit lower on the screen. So this is a blank canvas wherein I finally start our weather app, and in the title also you can write weather. So if you go to the page, this is your weather app. In the header you can see it. Okay, so for the weather app, let's do some basic HTML first. So we're going to create some simple, I guess we're going to be using form. Yes, so let's create a basic class called create a basic div using and giving it the most universal name, container. Basically this is a bootstrap class, but we are not linking bootstrap here, so we will give the properties to our class. So class container, to this class, let's give it some properties. So you go to your style.css and you're going to give it some properties. Remove this dot container. We're going to give it some properties like maximum width. Are you guys doing it with me? Are you guys doing it with me? Please tell me. Give me a thumbs up quick. We're going to give it a class 600 pixels, and maybe we'll give it some, what type of application we want. A basic page, right? So we'll give it some margin. You do not need margin though. We will give it some padding. Let me know if you face any issues in any of these attributes that we're going to use. Although we're going to use very simple attributes, and you can also add your styling in this also. Okay, it's totally your call. 20 pixel, and then padding is done. Then minimum height, we will give some minimum height, which is 100 vh. Okay, so what I'll quickly explain. Maximum width, which means the maximum width of this container, our container would be 600 pixels. The padding would be 20 pixels, which means it will take 20 pixels from each side, top, bottom, left and right, because I have given only one value. Then minimum height, the minimum height of this div would be 100 vh, which is the entire screen of whatever device you are using. We can also give it a border to see how a container looks. Solid green, and if we go to the code, this is our container. Clear? Also it is taking some default height and width. Let's remove it. I explained it to you yesterday. How do we remove it? Sorry, on the Saturday bootcamp, which was HTML CSS. Asterisk means universal selector. inside the universal selector we will say box sizing border box, which will not give its any default value, and margin 0, and padding. Are you guys doing this with me? Am I going too fast? Am I going too fast? Please let me know. So this is our div. Now it doesn't take any default uh, margin and padding. Okay, okay, I'm going fast. Okay. So, people are asking what is asterisk. So this star sign means universal. For example, it gives it gives style to the entire page, no matter how many elements are in it. For example, if I give it some background color, it will give the background color to the entire website. See, regardless of what child it has, what children it has, it is the super parent of every element. Okay, so I removed the default margin and padding that it took. This is my first div, which is you can say parent div. I'll go slow now. Okay. Box sizing border box basically gives it a box sizing, or what do you say, like with respect to the screen that you are using, so it doesn't overflow the content. If you do not want to use asterisks, you can directly call the body tag. This works the same. Okay. If you want me to set it in the center, you just have to give flex to this, but I do not want to do it because I have something in my mind, so I'm not going to do it for now. You can do it if you want. Shall we move forward? Please give me a thumbs up. Box sizing I've already explained, Harsh. Default sizing of the main screen. Basically, make it a good practice that you always do use these three attributes whenever creating a website. So this is very much important. Make it a habit. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. So this is a basic container tag that we're using. Now we will make a header inside our container. I'll give you some space. So inside this, we're gonna create, or you can directly use the header tag. This is basically for headers. You can also use nav, but header is what I prefer more. So to that header, first of all, I am going to give two things. First, heading, and second, a paragraph tag. So, and it is a good practice to always have only one heading in your website. I also mentioned this in the HTML and CSS bootcamp that was ended on Thursday, that for a search engine optimization of your website, it is a good practice to only use one header so that your website ranking increases. Okay. So we will use one header. In that we will say weather app, and then inside this, now I have a question for you all. Who are the children of the header tag? Who are the children of the header tag? Keep it in title formatting. Oops. I'll read your comments just a second. Okay. Get the current weather of any state. H1 and P are the children of header tag. You can see it here. Great. Okay, done. Are you doing it with me? If you lag behind, please let me know. I'll stop. So to header, we're gonna give some styling. Should I show that screen again, or you've done it? Done. Okay. So to header, we're not gonna give so much of properties. We'll just say text align to the center, and maybe we will give a color purple, and maybe we will also give it a bottom margin for reference. If it is not right, we will change it. Okay, some margin from the bottom, maybe 2 pixel would work. And I'll also like to give it's some border. So we can see where we are going. And this is a website, but in 100% this is how it looks. Okay, you see, this is how a website is looking so far. Is it picking up the color, or I can see it black only? We have given it a color, no? Just a second. Okay. Okay. एक second. We have not given it a class header. The tag name was header. Okay. The tag name was header. Okay. Why are you guys proud? Yes, Shikhar has already uh, got the error. Basically, I was calling it using a class name, but header was not the class name, it was the tag name. So now it will probably be, yes, it has picked the color. It's looking very nice so far. Boys, please make it a little boyish if you think it's girlish, but I think it's fine. Okay, that is a basic header. I'll share the code. That's why I asked you guys if you want the me to keep the comments, but you said remove it, so fine. I'll share the code. Are you guys doing it with me now? Today basically we're going to design the front end, and then tomorrow we're going to implement API key and then fetch the real time data. I hope it's clear so far. The header tag is done. Should we move ahead? Header tag is for headers, no? This, you can use a div, simple div also, you can use a nav also, but what happens with our system is we should tell it now what is it. It is in heading. Heading can also be created using a paragraph tag, no? You can make it bold, you can increase the size, you can change the font family. What is the purpose of these tags is to tell our search engine that this is the element that you have to put in the website. Now if you put a header in the bottom of the website, your website ranking is going to go from worst to worst. Okay, so it is a good practice to use the right tag names. That's why we have used header for header. Okay, you want to see the index.html? This is it. If you want to see the index.html, somebody doesn't get that green box. You have not, maybe you have not put the border property. Give it some border. Give some border to your container class. Border colon border colon 2 pixel solid green or any color, and I'll remove borders in the end. It is for your uh, reference to the structure. It's not they don't do it anymore, so Zoom and Meet, it used to happen earlier. Yes, nav and header are basically two different things. Nav bar is for navigation purposes. You have home like the links to home tabs, you have link to contact us tab, to login and sign in tab, but header is basically the upper static part of the website. Okay, maybe we can move ahead now. So header is done, we can close this. Our header is defined. Now we would want another div with a class name called, maybe we want a search section next. So maybe we can give it a class name search section. This is our div. Now let's give some styling to the search section. What is it? It is going to be a search bar wherein you can search different city names. So to search section, we're going to give some different styling. Are you guys working with me? I don't think there is anything such as a header is being used in older versions. We still use it. Working? Okay. So to the search section, we're going to use, you can also put comments here if you want, but to the search section, we're going to use give some properties like display flex, because we want the items to be aligned at the center. So then we will say flex direction, maybe column, and then We will say margin bottom. You can style it as you want, but I have a picture in my mind, so I'll create it that way. For now, we can give it another border to see um, the structure. So this is going to be our search bar. We have not given it any height and width. So now we will give it some height and width as we go. So you can also give it a property called gap, or you can give it some height width. Both work for you. Both work. 1.5 would be too less. Maybe let's do it 15 or 20. 50 would work. Okay. And there it is. Now this search bar will extend as we put the content, but if you want, I'll give it some height also. 3 pixel would be less, so let's give it 15. And width also, let's give it, no, width is fine. Width, it will take default. So this is going to be our search bar. We can increase it to 30 pixels. Clear? How do we make a paragraph line by line on screen instead of single long line? You can either use br tag, which is break tag, which will change the line, or break tag is usually like, see, if I want, I'll show you an example. If it is a pre tag, I'm using a 10 words section, but I, so here you see there's this paragraph. I want next line from this, so you can use a br, you can use a br tag. It will change the line. Okay, you can use this, or you can use span. No, span is in line. It will keep it in the same line, so you have to use br ultimately. If you want in different lines, you have to use divs. Use of gap is to have a gap from the above element, how much gap you want. Okay, are you guys doing it with me? Please give me a thumbs up so that I can see you're working. Where were we? Okay, this was done. So we've created a search section. In the header also, if you want to give some uh, maybe color and width वगैरह to your h1 and b tag, this is your homework. Please make it attractive. Then we are going to have another class. Search section is done, right? Now inside that search section, if you remember, I told you that we are going to use an element from forms, which is input box. So inside the search section, we're going to use an input box. So you have to use input. Now inside the input box, you already get a lot of these attributes. In the first attribute type, we are going to use keep it as text only, because when you give state names, it is in text format only. The city name or state name is in text format. The name that you want to give to your input box should be, say, city input, but you're not going to call this using the name in the JavaScript. You're going to call this using its ID. So please give it a very relatable name so that you know that, okay, this ID means that input box which has the search value that the user has entered. So inside it, we're going to give it an ID, and the ID should also be city input. Let's keep it same. Then you can also use something called placeholder, which is when you log in, there is this gray colored text which disappears as soon as you start writing. That is called a placeholder. So enter the city name. This is going to be my placeholder. So if I go here, this gray text, as soon as you start typing, this disappears. This is called a placeholder. So inside that, in this search section, I have used this input tag. Now I'm going to give some styling to this input button. So I will call this using our class name. Have I given it a class? No, I'm not. So let me give it a class. Maybe give it a class called. Should I give it the same class as the ID, or maybe just add an hyphen city input? And yeah, I think that's fine. No, input type should not be search. It is text because you're gonna enter text ultimately. Dot. What was the name? It was search city input, right? So inside that city input, I'm gonna say give some features. Placeholder Ranu is this. Do you see this gray text? Enter the city name. As soon as I start typing, it will disappear. This is called a placeholder. This is always used in forms and very widely used in forms. So to city input, I'm gonna give some classes. Uh, Wait. Let's say padding. So I'm gonna give an overall padding to it of 15 pixels, and I'm gonna give it some font size, which I can adjust later also. And we're gonna give it some border. We will remove most of the borders. And if you see, we have always seen that these search bars have a curved sort of border, so we're gonna use that. So we're gonna use an attribute called a property called border radius, and we're gonna keep the border radius to 8 pixels, so it will be a little bit uh, you know curved. So 8 pixel is the value that I have. I think would be fine. 10 maybe. And then there is another property called, which I explained on Saturday if you attended the boot camp, transition, and I will transition the color of the search bar from to the border color in zero point 0.3 seconds, and I will give it a transition ease. Simple ease is fine, I think. Now this will in zero point 0.3 seconds give a transition to my search border. Let's see if it does. Okay, focus it has some color, and it has some. This I think is not working. Padding should be removed for now. Yes. And border, this is the border. This is the border. So we will remove the border also for now. Wait a second. And okay, this has a default border, so we will give it a default width and height. Okay. Mm, let's remove transition for now. And its parent is this div, which has this purple border, right? So it's to its parent, I will give a height max content. You can style it however you want, so it's gonna fit the bar now. And then I'm gonna remove this border from here, and then my search bar will be shown. And my search bar's height is a little bit of larger, so I would say the font size would be 10. Okay, yeah, that looks better. And I'll remove this black border. Any doubts? No, input name is not mandatory, Shikhar. It's your choice. It's your call, but it's good to put these values because you might need to call them in the code later. You can give same class to multiple elements, Suraj, but never the same ID to multiple elements. Ma'am, I get small search box, not the entire place. You're not okay. My 100% is this. That's why you're getting a small search box. If my I was just zoomed in, so this is your 100%. If you want this to be shown in the entire screen, let's do it for you all. What you have to do is your container should have, let's make it full width, okay? Height 100 vh and width 100 the entire screen. This is how your app should look. And if you want height 50 vh, that's also fine. We will move it in the center, 50%. So this is the app, and you can give it a margin left, and you can give it a 50% margin from the left. Oh, it will. So if to give, according to my calculation, we would need to give 25% margin from left to keep it in center. Clear? Any more doubts? Sanket, now it will be looking like this. Yes, you can build a web app by prototyping Figma. Yes, I like these days we do have such tools, but Figma is for entirely styling. So you can have properties from that, like you can see what colors are being used, what icons are being used, but you ultimately have to code yourself. So a gap property gives you a gap from the very top of the screen. Input type search आएगा मैम. No, you can use text also, because ultimately we're going to use API key which will fetch whatever is being entered in this search box. So it will fetch the data, it will match it to its DB. So ultimately it's working, it's going to work. Okay, I think it's clear. Let's move ahead. So we've already done input type. Now let's create a search button, a simple button for searching below the search section. This is a button, and you're going to write a text search. To that button, I'm going to give a class, a simple class, or maybe ID. To that button, we're going to give an ID, search button, and then a class also. Basically, we're going to be monotonous, and every time you change the give class name, just add an hyphen for now, for your own ease. So ID search btn, classes search hyphen btn. So whenever we need to use anything, we will either use ID or class as selectors. Okay, so to this search button, we're going to give some properties. I would suggest you to give some radius also. Where is it? Dot search button. Yes, you can use radius. We do have some more properties here in the app that I had in mind. These properties, you can use these also. I'll wait for a minute, add these if you want. These are basically, okay, this is we've already done, we don't want this. This is called a pseudo class. Now I explained this on Saturday if you were here. This changes the color on the focus of the input box. So if you see, when I focus on this box, the color, एक second. Yes, city input, focus, the color should be, let's change the color to some brighter shade. Is it working or I cannot see it? Dot city input, focus, we want the border color to be green. We want the background color to be green. Let's see if this is working. Yeah, it's working. So the background color should be blue, and I'll decrease the transparency for more aesthetic kind of feel. Yes. So when you focus, no, it's not that transparent still. Move it a little below. Yes, now it's fine. And on focus, we want the border color should be um, white, and maybe I'll use the same color, but I'll increase the transparency. I'll Was it the same color? So yeah, I'll increase the transparency of the border color on click. Okay. No, focus will work when you click on that element for entering the data. Okay. Oh my god, so many doubts. Can you please explain media properties to? I explained media on Saturday. I'm not gonna explain it again. Go back to that bootcamp video. It's there in the channel. After this session, you can go back to it. You can see media property. I explained it in the very last of the section. Okay, where we built uh, a landing page. How did you align the entire box? You have two options. Either you can give the entire body the property display flex, justify content, center, align items, center, or you can give this 25% margin from the left, which is according to the calculation. This is 25% because this was 50%, right? So 50 plus 25 75 plus 25 100. So 25% margin if you give from left, it will definitely by default move to the center. Two ways. Okay, let's give some properties to our search button. Your a homework for you guys is to beautify this page. Okay, make it very you like. Okay, 2 pixel from here. How much time do we have for it? If it's 7:49, okay, no problem. So we have 15 pixel from left. So this takes from top and bottom, left and right. To the search button, we're going to give this property. Then we're going to give some maybe size. Font size will be one. Let's keep it 1.2 rem. Rem is on the basis of the screen size. Okay. I've already explained all these things in the HTML and CSS bootcamp, but I'm explaining it in short here. So I think I'll give it a background color. Let's give it a matching background color. Maybe this. Then oh, somebody is asking display flex क्या होता है? अच्छा, say क्या होता है? I'll explain display flex in a minute, Harsh, because it's important. Although I have explained it in the bootcamp on Saturday, but no problem, I'll explain it. Just give me a minute. I'll complete these properties. You all can give properties on like how you like, but these are some common properties. Border none. We don't want any border, and we would want a border radius in the button. It looks very good, so I would want a border radius for my button. Let's keep it to 8 pixel, just like in our search box. And we would want a, our cursor to be okay. There are so many cursors. Now what pointer cursor is, what pointer cursor does is it gives that hand wala you've seen when I'll show it to you. This is pointer cursor. You see, from arrow it has moved to hand gesture. This is called a pointer cursor. And then we can maybe give it some transition for the button. um, let's give it some transition like how you go. Let's give this transition to our button rather than the search input. Let's give this to our button. And let's remove it from here. So we have a beautiful button, I presume. Yeah, the transition is so very small, so it's not visible. Very quick transition. And somebody's asking recap of today's class. Okay, I'll give the quick recap to whoever is asking. And on I want to add a pseudo class also, that on hover of the search button, I would want on hover of a search button, I would want to change the color. So for input box it was focus, but on button definitely you want different uh, properties while you hover over the button, right? So on that, I'm gonna add a property, probably a subtle background color. Oh, my keyboard is goofy. Okay, background color, I'm gonna give a background color to my button, maybe subtle, keep it subtle. Okay, this, we are making a rainbow, but that's fine. Okay, and there is another pseudo class that is active. Now what that this does is, what this does is, whenever you click on that button, and once it is clicked, it will change its color. For example, if you in a link, you see, uh, in Google, if you have visited a link earlier, it becomes purple, not blue. So that is active property. So on active, we are going to use a transform property, which will, change the, say, positioning of the button altogether. So on active of that button, maybe we will translate it to the y-axis. Like in y-axis, it will move 1 pixel towards the y-axis. Let's see what we've created. And you see, when I click on it, it is moving 1 pixel in the uh, y-axis. So basically, sometimes our apps don't work, so we know that okay, the button is being clicked. This is for that preference. And I think my search bar now, it's a little smaller as compared to the button. So first of all, I'll move my search bar a little lower. So this is enter the city name wala thing is my search bar. So after this, I'll probably use 2 3 break tags, or you can also use margin top. So I've used break tags. I'll use more. Margin is a good option, guys, please go for it. But I'm being a little quick here, and I want to increase its height. So for search section, I want to increase its height to, search section should, okay, I want to increase its height to maybe 30% of my its parent div. Oh, okay, okay, okay. The search bar is small. The main section is fine. So I increase this height to maybe 50 pixels. Okay, maybe more. Oh, that's too much. Maybe 80 would work. Hi, somebody has just joined. Hi, Akka. If I'm not wrong, Akka means sister, right? Thank you. So we, okay, guys. I'll quickly review. For somebody who was asking display flex, I'm going to explain it. I think then we will end the class. And is my video not on? I can see in the YouTube. Oh, I'm sorry. I turned it off. Is it visible now? I just noticed. I'm sorry. So this is, what is this DB24? Then if you go to the page, yeah, this is our search box. This is our button. We will write a function for this button, that when I click on this search, something should happen. So that is JavaScript. We'll do that tomorrow. Maybe I can move this search button a little at the center. Let's do it. This is our search button, and its parent is city input. So the city input, right? Let me give it a background color to see if I'm right. No, it's the input box. I'm sorry. What am I doing? It's not the input box. Wait. Search. This is the entire div, na? Okay, got it. Header, no. Search section is the main div. So align items center. Maybe we'll need to remove just align items property. Why has it moved it to this? Did I change anything else? Let's remove this align items part. Okay, justify content in the center. This is not working. Let's do one thing. To this button we will give margin left 50%. 50% is a lot. Let's give it 25% margin, and let's remove this padding for now. Oh my god, padding is required for the button to look good. Margin from left should be 40%. Yeah, that looks fine. So this is a basic application that we have created. Abhi iska backend has to be done, so we'll do it tomorrow. For somebody who was asking what is display flex, one of the most widely used properties in CSS, display flex gives the parent element the power, the superpower to align its items as we want. Okay, so if I give a parent display flex property, it gives it the flexibility to align its items. So if I give a parent, for example, this was my parent, right? This green div was my parent. So if I give display flex to this parent, I can now tell this parent that align all your children in this order. So if I tell this div that display flex aligned items center, it will align all the elements to center. If I say justify content center, it will justify all the contents to center. If I give this div a command now that justify content space between, so it will justify all its children and position them in such a way that they will have equal spaces in between them. Clear? Display flex gives the parent the superpower to align its items however we want. I think that is it for today's session. Your homework is to beautify this application. It is very basic for now. Your homework is to make it better. We have discussed basic JavaScript, so tomorrow we can directly jump onto the integration and implementation of functions. I hope today's session was worthwhile. You understood basic HTML and CSS and how to style make a basic application, and what are JavaScript elements and functions. Transition property is this. The color, you can transition a color where as soon as the website loads, you give it a timestamp 0.3 or 0.5 seconds, you can transition the color. Clear? So I'll stop sharing the screen. Do you guys want me to share code today itself or tomorrow altogether? Let me know. Should I share the code today itself or tomorrow after completing the application? Because if I share it today, you will probably use that code file and then you will not practice yourself. But if I share today, will you guys use that code tomorrow? Please don't do it. Have your own code. Okay, you can improve. I'll share the code. Okay, only for practice. Okay, don't cheat with yourself. I'll give some front-end project ideas tomorrow. So, somebody who's wanting a very quick recap, I have stopped sharing the screen, but I'll explain what we're doing is basic HTML structure using input box, using a header, using a main div on the center, a button. We discussed about JavaScript functions. We discussed about JavaScript, how JavaScript manipulates the objects, the HTML objects, like we can change the content. You can view this video again to whoever who is if anybody is facing any issues or challenges, you can rewatch this video. It's going to be there on YouTube itself. So after this session, you can rewatch it. Your homework is to beautify this front end. That's all. Okay. I hope you found the session worthwhile. It's let's wrap up this session for now. And yes, let me know in the comments of the video how did you like the session, and we will see you tomorrow in the same time, 6 to 8. Okay. I'm excited to see you guys tomorrow with something beautiful. Okay, I know you can design more beautiful website than this. At least add a background image, make it very beautiful, add some animations if you want to. Okay, I'll share the code file as soon as this session ends. Thank you. Bye bye. Good night. See you. Thank you for joining.